Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to welcome you to NACAC's Industry Insights webinar with CampusXR. As we begin today's program, we encourage you to submit questions throughout the webinar. To do so, simply type your question in the Q&A box on the bottom of your screen. Our presenters will answer as many questions as possible. A recording of this webinar will be also available shortly after the conclusion of today's live event in our LMS, NACAC Learn. As a reminder, NACAC events are free from discrimination and harassment. NACAC reserves the right to remove any participant who violates this code. And now I will pass it on to Campus XR to begin their presentation.
Awesome. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Really excited to talk about XR tools and how they can really enhance recruitment by adding gamification into outreach tools. The two of us will be talking today. Hello, my name is Paige Hann. I am a Senior Project Manager with CampusXR. And Shan, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Shan. I'm the Digital Media Director at Sunrise, and also we have the CampusXR brand under Sunrise. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, with that, let's dive right in. So there's a couple of terms that we just generally find it kind of helpful to define, just so we're all on the same page. So when we say XR or XR is kind of an umbrella term. It means generally stands for extended reality. And that kind of is going to cover a group of technologies. And you'll see kind of the list here, but just to define those really quickly. The first that probably most people think of when they think of XR is going to be virtual reality. So if anyone's ever worn an Oculus headset or even a Google Cardboard, virtual reality is what we mean when we say that is a world where everything you're seeing is that digital content. Excuse me. So in virtual reality, just 100% of your view is going to be digital content. Augmented reality is where we take some of that digital content and overlay it on the real world. So AR is things like Snapchat filters, right? Where you're seeing maybe like the digital puppy dog ears appear on your head, or something like Pokemon Go, where you're seeing various Pokemon appear kind of in your real world. That's going to be augmented reality. It also includes mixed reality. So most of what we mean when we talk about mixed reality is actually going to be holograms and holographic displays. So taking some of this 3D digital content and bringing it into the real world so that people can view it without a headset. And then we also have WebXR, which is going to be bringing elements of XR, things like 3D models and interactions and integrations, but allowing them to be accessed purely through a standard web browser from something as simple as a desktop. So those are kind of our basic terms. You can see some kind of further examples below, but if you have any questions about that, please feel free to throw that in the chat. Great. So why does XR matter? Why should you care? XR is actually a really powerful tool, particularly in marketing and outreach. Studies show that it extends user engagement 2 times longer than traditional media. So it's making people stay with your piece for longer and with your brand for longer. There's also 70% higher memory encoding for XR than for standard 2-dimensional marketing. So it makes it actually remember AR better than a standard 2-dimensional marketing. It's more impactful in that way. There's measurable ROI. AR-driven experiences boost engagement by 94% and increase conversion rates up to 70%. So there's actually data that shows that ROI significantly increases through XR experiences. It's also really cost effective, right? So if you're suddenly taking what used to be a massive 30-page, super glossy lookbook or brochure and condensing that down to a 3 or 4-page brochure, or even just a single QR code on a business card, the cost of printing and shipping and traveling goes way down. Also, really great for any kind of environmental pledges, really great for the environment because of that significant reduction in printing. What's also really great is because all of that content is digital, it's fully editable. So if a couple of years go by and or as every year goes by, the dates change, or names of departments change, or you find a typo. Rather than you having to throw away and reprint everything, it can be done fully digitally. Nothing needs to change on the print piece. You can keep on passing it out, no issue, and everything you've already passed out is also updated with new information. So fully editable. And you can also add analytics on those links as well, and you can see what people are and are not engaging with. And it also becomes cross-platform, right? It helps to blend your digital outreach and your print and physical world outreach into one coherent message. So that's kind of some of the power and the benefits behind XR. So why now? Why is now the right time to jump in? Why is now the time for XR technology? The biggest thing is that the technology enables access to XR much more easily than ever before. Internet speeds are 300% faster than in 2017 and 10 times faster than in 2019, right? So this kind of advent of 5G Wi-Fi internet access means that the content that needs to be streamed and loaded on a phone can be done much, much more easily and much more quickly than with previous slower internet speeds. Hardware is also much more affordable, right? So phones that can access it are much more easy to come by. Things like the Oculus Quest have made VR household accessible rather than something that only high-fledged companies or like the military and medical institutions had access to. Another huge thing is that devices are already in hand, right? With kind of the advent of a lot of the technology developing, most XR can be fully accessible through the phones or tablets, computers that people already own. So you're actually reducing a lot of that technological friction when you don't need to buy a new device to access it. And also multi-platform accessibility is what we're really seeing increase right now. The ability to kind of blend and merge things across different forms of XR technology, but also between the real world and technology. That capability has substantially increased in recent years, making now a really great time to kind of begin to experiment and make use of XR tools. So a couple of different tools, as we already talked about, that we use. We deal a lot with mobile AR. It's kind of, if anyone got a chance to see some of our demos at NACAC, mobile AR is one of the easiest ways to blend that real world and digital content, right? If you are able to give someone a QR code and then have them scan it and see the building that you're currently constructing on campus appear in front of them, that's going to be mobile AR, is through that kind of QR code use that makes use of someone's smartphone. Also, as we touched on, WebXR, it is also fully accessible from a smartphone, but it's fully accessible from anything that can access a web browser. So that includes things like laptops or desktops, things like that. Most of what you're going to see with WebXR is not going to have that same kind of pass-through of AR where you can kind of see a real world through it, but it does allow you to interact with 3D objects in a web page, which is the real benefit of WebXR. There's also virtual reality, which is the one, again, as we talked about, things like headsets. Most of what we're going to do with virtual reality is going to be things like virtual campus tours. And then also we have holograms, which allow you to take some of that three-dimensional content and view it as a group in a shared space. Great. So now I'm going to pass it over to Shan to talk about holographic fans.
Yeah, so let's look at some real deployment examples, starting with the HoloFans, or we can call it holograms. So next, a HoloFan is a specific type of device that create the illusion of a hologram using the repeatedly spinning LED fan. So as the fan spins, it light up, and the moment it will form a full like floating image in the air. So if you got a chance to pass by our booth at NACAC, you'll be able to see the hologram that we have at our booth. We have like a lot of people who pass by our booth will get like a really eye-catching experience because we can display the animated messages, including the logos, 3D models, or like a 3D building of the school. And we can, without the needs of a special glass or complex equipment, so people pass by will be just able to see the hologram itself without like a special equipment or glasses. So for students, imagine walking into a college fair and seeing like a mascot or a new campus building projected in the mid-air. It will be really eye-catching for them. So it turned like ordinary booth into like a showstopper. So here are some examples like to show you what kind of content that can be shown on those HoloFans. So we can show 3D characters and like buildings or some dynamic models like the spinning kind of like models with animations. And next, we have some like a different, yeah, we have some different fun types. So for example, we used to have this handheld mini fence at our booth, if you got a chance to grab one. So those can be bring outside and it will be really popular especially during the summertime, where we can customize the letters and the color on the fan. So this color here is like a white color, but we can also customize to be like different color to make it more fun for a student. And then for the second one is the HoloFun with case. It's the kind of one that we place on the table, and it's easy to carry. It's pretty like a paddable. And the third one is like a HoloFun with standing in case, which is the one we use at our booth. We always carry with the stand. And the last one is like a combination. It's like a holo wall, so we can display like a more complicated and bigger objects on those fans. And we'll go to the second part, the AR. So Paige will take over.
Yes. Awesome. Thanks so much, Shan. So what we can then do once we've seen kind of we've built out those 3D models, that those kind of spinning logos and graphics for something like a HoloFan, is we can take the same 3D content and bring it into augmented reality onto people's phones. We already talked about some of the benefits of AR as we talked about the benefits of XR as a whole, but feel free to kind of take a look at these in your time and come back to this slide as you like when the video is shared, so you can take a look at some of this in a little bit more detail. For AR, one of the most popular use cases is actually going to be full brochure replacement. So this is one example here that we made for our Cornell's engineering department. But from here, the single QR code scan will actually open up the experience you're seeing right now on your right with video content, audio content. But the real benefit is all of those segments there are actually links that lead directly to websites, web pages, contact forms. It integrates directly with your CRM, so you can lead students to whatever links you want directly and just put them right in their hands. We've had a lot of universities do away with some of their larger brochures by switching entirely to an experience like this that's just printed on the back of every team member's business card. So not only are you significantly reducing, as we talked about before, the printing costs, shipping costs, great for any environmental pledges, it's fully editable, but also now your entire team has your full brochure on them just simply by having their business card with them. And here's where we're talking about those 3D models. Mascots are incredibly popular for generating that kind of student access and engagement. And this is really where gamification comes into play, right? Is you start to put the mascot in someone's hands. With something like the HoloFan, it allows you to kind of gamify the real world, right? Because you're walking by a hologram. It feels like you're bringing content, digital content in the real world. It makes you almost feel like you're in the world of a video game. Augmented reality allows you to put that in someone's hands. There are features that allow you to interact with the mascot. We can add selfie modes or a photo button where you can allow students to take photos with your mascot. We can also add in a feature where people can talk to and have conversations with the mascot. And we can add in gamification elements as well by having maybe the mascot lead students through different game experiences. We also do a lot of student voice activations. So what you'll see here is actually an experience where you can click on each of those student videos and the video comes to life and students will tell their story and talk about their experience. It's a way to take kind of this static two-dimensional video content that you probably already have a lot of filmed and on maybe your YouTube channel, but actually bring it directly into someone's hands. And then you can really print whatever else you'd like on the back of this card. In this particular instance, it was actually their acceptance letter. So students, it was sent out in the mail as the acceptance letter. Students could then hear directly from currently enrolled students, and then the buttons right at the bottom are to accept their admission or learn about their financial aid package or set up a meeting to meet with your team. It's right there at their fingertips. One of our newest features is what we call multi-page tracking. So what this actually allows you to do is a single QR code can actually activate different AR experiences and AR integrations on every single page of a booklet, for example. So as you turn each page, you'll see different videos come to life, different links appear, different interactions, different 3D models. And it's a great way of turning this piece in their hands into this cool game-like experience because suddenly they're holding a brochure that's come to life in front of them. With that same exact technology, we can also activate three-dimensional models, right? Or three-dimensional physical objects. So what you're seeing here to the left is how it's printed, but it's folded into a cube shape. And then from there, it's scanned once, but as you turn it, each side of the cube activates different videos, different student testimonials, different links and buttons and interactive elements in that way. We can also add a ton of fun and exciting elements through facial tracking and facial filters. So these are some things, this is a style experience you might be really familiar with through things like Snapchat or Instagram. But we can take that and place it on the back of maybe an outreach campaign or a sticker or some kind of swag giveaway. And it becomes this really fun game-like experience where students can deck themselves out digitally or experience some kind of branded face frame or filter in that way. And now back to Shan for campus tours and wayfinding.
Yeah. So one of the most powerful use of XR is also in the virtual campus tour. So I know almost every school has their own virtual tours, but what make it really stand out is having a more immersive and gamified virtual tour. So visiting a campus is important for a prospective student, but travel can be really expensive, especially for international families. So with the a more immersive virtual tour, you can actually show off your campus globally with embedded pop-up guides and multi-language support and guided arrows between the locations allow students to go around by themselves. And also we can do custom pathways where students can design their ways and their routes on campus. Of course, you can always embed your tours on your website or newsletter or even in the email that you're sending out to your students. And it's fully accessible in VR as well. So next, some universities are taking it further, adding some AR pop-ups. So for example, this self-guided campus tour we did for Virginia Tech University, this interactive experience allows students to actually see some pop-up windows about their building, seeing a building is not like special. What's special is the story behind it. So we can actually include those history of the building, who found it, who like do what like great things in that building, all that kind of like story inside those VR pop-up elements, so that student can be more immersive during their campus trip. And next, we can see some AR portals and pop-ups can be integrated into the virtual tour, as well as some 3D images of the location, so that especially for some buildings that might not be open to the public. So with that 360 video or image, visitors can actually go inside the VR tour to be able to view the location in 360, so they don't have to enter it. They will be able to know what's inside. And we can also integrate the AR help guide to help answer questions the student might have, to make it more like a gamified and attractive, appealing to students, younger generation. And next. In addition to those web deployments, as we mentioned, we can also integrate it as like embed it as a poster or handouts for admission. So you can just like place them outside of your office or in other buildings. Whoever who's interested in the self-guided AR tour will be able to pick up a card or like a handout so that they can access the experience themselves. So we can, inside the tour, we can actually label each location with the numbers and some introduction and with images, and also to include the contents about each stop. And next. And of course, we can also include the directions and wayfinding function. For example, if your campus is really big or you have like a different segments of a different buildings, so we can integrate those Google Maps inside the VR tours, so that when students click on the wayfinding, they will be able to jump into the Google Map and find whatever the building they need to get to. So it's really easier, because like a lot of students who have like a have like a little understanding of each building name. So with that card, it will be easy for them to just guide themselves inside the map. And next. And student can also discover some hidden Easter egg kind of elements during the tour and collect the digital badges throughout the experience. For example, if they can trigger a like a building to have like a pop-up 3D model or 3D mascot, and then they can collect a badge, and then after like a certain round of like activities, they can click like maybe 5 badges to exchange for a small price. So this isn't about just showing your campus. It's about creating a memory that student and family can carry with them through this gamified VR tour. And next, I will pass back to Paige about the WebXR.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yes, so the last thing we're going to kind of talk and dig into about today is, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, is WebXR. So all of these really exciting gamified experiences that we've talked about so far, the HoloFans, the AR, the AR campus tour that allows you to kind of see mascots appear in front of you on campus or add in wayfinding, all of that is for use kind of through your cell phone. It's most applicable to be shared with prospective students while you're with them in person, or where you can kind of hand off something like a piece of paper or send them a mail or something like that. When we're talking about digital campaigns, we can also then take the same kind of three-dimensional engagement, excitement, gamified experiences and incorporate them on web pages as well, so that you can also activate your website with all of that great content and gameplay. So when we're talking about WebXR, there's a couple of different ways benefits to it. It's going to immerse visitors. It's going to make a more dynamic and engaging web page. It's going to incorporate 3D models and interactions that are atypical and something different and more unique than what people are used to experiencing on a standard web page. There's a couple of different ways. There's two main ways to interact with a AR web or a WebXR experience. The first is going to be what we call scroll-based interaction. So all a user has to do is just scroll down through your website, and they're going to actually be able to interact with the 3D content in that way. The one you can see on the right is kind of the most basic, simplistic, or most easy to integrate ways of creating that scroll through a WebXR. Again, all a person or a user is doing is just scrolling down on their computer, but they're seeing these 3D objects come in, they're seeing videos appear and play, they're interacting with the web page in a unique and exciting way. On the left, what we're actually seeing is a 3D model imagined through scroll-based WebXR. So again, all someone is doing is just scrolling down, but it's actually taking a 3D model and rotating it at different angles. It's letting users explore different areas of it, zoom into different areas and get information about different parts of this 3D model. In this case, it's a dorm room, right? So it's allowing you to kind of just scroll through, but look at a 3D model from different angles in that way. Another way to utilize WebXR is explorative interaction. So rather than just scrolling through, someone can actually click and drag these 3D models and interact with 3D models as part of the page a little bit more dynamically. So you can see here on the left, it's a globe model that the user is actually clicking on and dragging and interacting with as a 3D object in that way. And then they can actually click on different countries and hear stories from students from those countries. There's also versions like we're seeing to the right that kind of fully reimagine what a web page can be. So rather than something like your menu bar at the top with all of your different sections that students can explore, this actually takes all of that content but turns it into a dynamic space that can be explored, or we can reimagine the way that menus on web pages work into a much more exciting and gamified experience for users to interact with that still includes all of that informational content that you want to share with them, but makes it much more fun and exciting to engage with for users. You can see an example here that we did for Tulane. That was this video you can see here on the right. But we created this almost office space-like experience, where as you kind of click into each of these different sections of it, whether it's the whiteboard or the desk or the computer or the globe on the desk, you actually get different gameplay experiences at each stop. And we can really integrate this with some existing content that you already have to turn it into a really fun exploratory game-like experience. Things like maps or quizzes about the history of your university becomes that kind of fun game experience. And you'll see here, it's fine enough for us to talk about it, but we have a lot of customers we worked with who will attest to some of the power and the real benefit behind XR experiences. If you want to learn a little bit more about kind of the science and technology behind XR, you'll see right here is our white paper. There's a QR code here, and we can also see about sharing this out with all attendees as well, so that you guys can take a look at our white paper and learn a little bit more of some of that hard data behind some of this technology. And that is kind of a brief summary of XR and the different ways that it can integrate with your existing media to create a really fun and gamified experience for visitors, either to your websites or web pages or to your campus in person. I now want to make sure that we give a chance to kind of answer any questions that you guys may have. Feel free to throw those in the chat if there's any to kind of get started with. Let's go ahead and start with the Q&A.
Yeah, we do have one question from Jen. How do you measure engagement? What metrics can we track?
Sure. So within our own platform, we generally keep analytics somewhat broad, purely for student protection purposes. We do capture things like average total number of users, to independent users, as well as uses. So you can actually track how many people are coming back to your experience to see if it's something that kind of has that repeat interaction. And we'll also track things like average time of user when they're accessing it, some broad things like that. For AR and for some of these, what we would generally recommend for universities, if you want more granular analytics, is to add things like UTM codes and an AR experience to each of those links, so you can see who is clicking on what and track more analytics that way through your own dashboard.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And we have a second question from Ben. What does a student need to download in order to use QR-based mode for mobile AR? Yeah, so actually for this one, all mobile AR experience can be activated through the QR code directly from your phone's camera or your like a scanning function on your phone. So student doesn't have to do like download anything. They can just like scan the QR code to activate the browser. It's like a XR browser so that they can activate the whole experience.
It's 100% web-based, so there's no app download at all. Nothing needs to be downloaded for users. It's all purely accessed just through your standard QR code. So if you've scanned a menu in the last couple of years that was a QR code, you can access the technology exactly the same way. There's no app download at all.
Yeah, I don't see other questions coming. Maybe we'll give like a 1 minute to see if we get other questions.
Yes. If you have any further questions, please throw those in the chat. Happy to answer those now. You can also feel free, both of our email addresses are here. I'm, again, our senior project manager, so I'm generally the person you'd be in direct contact with as we were to build a project. So feel free to reach out to either Shan or I to ask any of those questions at any time as well. And we'll also follow up with information if after the session as well. Okay, great. Well, if no one has any more questions at this time, thank you all so much for joining. Please reach out to us with any questions that come up later, or if you want to have a more one-on-one chat or learn about maybe specific ways that XR can target any of your particular marketing goals. I do know that that's one thing that we often find really helpful is if you're excited or interested in exploring XR, but not quite sure where to start. Is we love to kind of just hop on a call, hear about any current marketing campaigns that you have coming up, or outreach campaigns, or maybe if you're redoing your campus tour and are interested in learning more about ways that XR can gamify and enhance it. Feel free to reach out to us at any time, and we're always happy to kind of hop on a call and almost brainstorm different ways that XR tools might work specifically for your goals and for what you guys are looking to do. Yeah. Well, fantastic. Thanks so much, everyone, and hope to hear from you all soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.